Welcome to chair class. If you are coming here at a different time, welcome, welcome. I have some guests here live today. We stay in the chair the whole time. We try to stay seated to stay safe. And there's other classes that I have where you get out of the chair, but this one we exclusively stay in the chair and work on it. Doesn't mean it's any harder or easier. We can do all of the yoga poses sitting. So take a few moments, sit back in your chair, sit up nice and tall, place your feet on the floor. So I told the guests that are here this week, last week when they took the class, that we were going to work in the joints a little bit today. So in the fingers, in the feet, and the toes. So that's kind of where we'll start. But let's take a few moments in meditation, sit up nice and tall. Feel your sit bones in the chair. Your sit bones are those bony, structural bones underneath your buttocks. Someone asked me the other day, what are sit bones? What do you mean by that? So feel them on the chair, and then root down through your sit bones. Lift up through the crown of your head. And soften your shoulders. And did you feel something happen when I said that? Soften your shoulders. Bring your lips together. Don't press them harshly, just let them touch. And then feel your lower jaw moving down, as if you were separating the top and the bottom teeth. And feel the corners of your mouth rising slightly. Bring your palms together in front of your chest. Feel the warmth of your hands, the pads of your fingers, the way your hands meet in the middle. Take a deep breath in. Soften your body as you exhale. Take a deep breath in, as if a waterfall was pouring down your back. Exhale out. And take a deep breath in and soften your skin. We'll chant Om together. Inhale. Om. Bow your head towards your heart. Relax your hands to your legs. Tuck your chin just a little bit deeper. Draw your shoulders back just a little bit more. Blink your eyes open and lift your gaze. Thank you so much for being here. All right, come a little bit to the top of your chair. I always say that just so that you get off of the back of the chair. That way your feet can come to the floor a little bit more easily. Separate your knees, maybe as wide as your hips. Toes are pointing forward, so just lift your toes up, bring them back down, and notice if you feel the middle toe pointing towards the front of the room. All right, so we're gonna work a little bit in our hands and our wrists. So show me your palms. You don't have to reach out. You can keep a bend in your elbows, whatever feels better for you. And we're going to do a little tucking in of our fingers. So bring your thumbs in, index fingers, middle finger, ring, and pinky. Kind of squeeze your thumb, or both of them. Squeeze both your thumbs. And then pinky finger, ring, middle, index. Stretch out through the palms of your hands. So I really want you to stretch like you're bringing your thumbs and your pinkies away from each other. And then do that one more time. Thumbs draw in, and then all the fingers wrap around, squeeze, and then release, starting with the pinky all the way out, and then stretch your finger. And you're welcome to stretch your arms out if it feels better. I just feel better bending my elbows today. And then I want you to try to take one finger down at a time. So start with the pinkies. Roll the pinkies down, ring, middle, index, thumb, and then go one at a time, all the way out. They won't always agree with you. Take the pinkies down, and then start to stretch. And this is not easy work. Your hands start to really feel the action. And then I want you to pretend like you're playing a piano. This is probably not how you play the piano, but something like this. It's almost as if you were working your fingers around your palms, and then just tap them. Maybe this is a little more like playing the piano. I've got a piano player with me today, so she knows. And do you see how I'm still trying to do one finger at a time, symmetrically? So pinkies, and then go back. I'm not very coordinated doing it, hence I may not play the piano. And then rest your arms. So you may have felt that up your forearms. It wasn't just the hands doing the action. Okay, this one's a little bit harder and it's a little bit confusing. So just, I'll mirror you. So hopefully we'll mirror each other and look the same. Take your right wrist over your left. So I've made an X. And then turn your palms towards each other. So you have your right wrist over your left wrist, and then you should be able to make a fist. So your wrists are crossed. Now be careful doing this because sometimes one way is going to feel different than the other, and it may feel a little bit awkward. So bring your fist down towards your navel and then pick it up and try to roll it out. So this is as far as I go. I don't stretch it's just too much for me to stretch my arms out, but you might be able to. And then roll your arms back in, and then you might be able to lengthen them a little bit more like that. So it's a really odd sensation through your wrists, forearms. Keep holding your hands, and a few more times like that. It's definitely something I do carefully because I don't quite trust it. That's a strange thing for a teacher to tell you, but it's true. I don't quite trust it. I say, So I question it a little bit. All right, release that. Shake your hands out like you have water on your hands and you're wringing out your hands a little bit. We'll try the other side. So this could be your side, the side that just seems more natural. Take your left wrist over your right. Turn your palms towards each other and then hold hands. And then scoop your hands in and out. Well, I'm just having a day where they both feel a little bit odd. So this is as far as I can go, but you might be able to stretch yours out a little bit more. And reach. And release, wring out your hands. All right. So sometimes when we're down on the floor in a yoga class, we get into tabletop. And so there's a way to do that sitting in the chair. Just take your hands onto your legs. And then point your middle fingers to the middle of your knees. So your middle fingers are pointing forward. And just press down. Your legs will hold them up. And then turn your palms over. Fingers are facing each other. So what I like about this one sitting in the chair is it's not as much weight bearing as it is on the floor. So I'm able to do it a little bit better. Lean forward slightly and then press your palms down, or the backs of your hands rather, into your legs. And slide them out a little bit so you can get your fingers on your thighs. And then push your thumbs down. Try to push the fingernail side of your thumbs down into your legs. Not easy. I feel it. And then relax for a moment. Curl your fingers in, kind of like you're making little claws. And then stretch them back out. And now move them out so that you can press your fingernails onto your legs. So just make sure your fingernails can press down onto your thighs. Try to straighten your arms. So bring your shoulders up to lengthen your arms and then press down. We are extending out through our wrists. So you can look like you're shrugging. I definitely feel it. And then release. This time, instead of just wringing your hands out, wring your arms out. Let your skin shake. Shake, shake, shake through the skin. All right. Take your left arm out. This time, do make your arm long, but reach back through your shoulder. So draw your shoulder back and down. I'm going to show you that from the side. Draw your shoulder back and down, plug it in. And then take the back of your right hand to the palm of your left hand. So we call this extension because you're extending out through the wrist, but you're also flexing your hand. So however you want to think of that, whatever word you want to use. Now, give yourself a little push, extend out through your wrist, and then release and hold. Not an easy thing to do. I feel like that little burning sensation in my forearm. And then just turn down and show me your pretty nails. There's a movie with Reese Witherspoon where they do that. They show me your nails. And then release and relax for a moment. All right, let's try the other side. Right arm, instead of pushing it out, I want you to draw the shoulder back and down. And then take the back of your left hand to your right palm. Not creating force. I'm just almost like setting it up, like holding it so that it will stay where it's at. And then bring your hand down and hold the right hand up. See if you can draw your fingernails towards you. Again, that slight burning sensation. And then show me your nails. When you show me your nails, try to like hold, like you're holding a tennis ball or a really nice, juicy, honey crisp apple. Those tend to be pretty big. And then release. And just stay here for a moment and be still. We don't always have to be moving. So maybe that kind of woke up the fingers a little bit. I always think I'm writing less than I used to. I'm typing all the time, so I'm doing ticking, but I'm not holding anything. I'm not holding a pencil so much anymore. So maybe that helped a little bit. Okay, we're gonna work in the feet. Don't have to see your feet. I think you can feel your toes as they move, so you don't have to look down. I would go ahead and stay up, keep your spine erect, and don't have to look down at your feet. In fact, use your mind for it a little bit. Place your feet on the floor. Press all of your toes down, but try to lift your big toes up. Whether they want to lift or not, that's going to be up to your toes. But I want you to feel like you're pressing all of your toes down except for your big toes. Big toes pull up. So it's like we're doing this with our thumb, giving a thumbs up, but it's our big toe. You still holding them? Keep them up, and bring them down. Right when I said keep them up, one of my big toes just went flat down when I said that. Try it one more time. Push all of your toes down into the floor. You don't have to squeeze or crimp, but just press them down and then lift your big toes up. This big toe is misbehaving. And then bring them down. Now, you know I'm going to do opposite. Try to push your big toes down into the floor and try to lift all the other toes up. You might cramp. So you might end up with a little cramp in the inner heel or the inner arch. So be careful. So big toe down, each foot, little toes up. It is hard work. Don't put it in your face. So give me a smile. And then bring all the toes down, relax your feet. Cramping a little bit. Big toes down, little toes up. I'm discovering something here. This foot is not behaving. So everything that I'm asking you to do, and me as well, this foot is kind of resisting. So I wonder if y'all are having that same. This is when I wish we were together in a real room. We could talk about it. I'll just assume it's not just me. Bring all your toes down. All right. Remember how we did this with our fingers? Do it with your toes. It's not going to go quite the same, but try to move like waves through your toes. It may just feel like a hot mess, but we're doing it. All right. Relax for a moment. Everything kind of starts pulling up. Do you feel that? All that energy starting to pull up off the floor. All right. I don't think you can see my feet very well. Maybe you can. So this one's a little bit different, but we're going to try to curl our toes under. So it's kind of like we did with our hands. So just take your left foot. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no problem. But try to come up onto your toes. So you're curling your toes under. We're all going to be different. So it may be you're saying, well, I can't really do that, but I can come up onto my toes a little bit. So curl your toes under. You're folding them underneath. The sensation I'm getting is definitely in the top of the ankle. Now, some of you might even be able to slip your foot behind and go under the chair. So you might be able to extend the leg back. Doesn't matter if you do or don't. We're all going to do the same thing. We're all just trying to turn the toes under wherever you're at. And we'll hold it for a little bit. I want you to press lightly. Just press lightly. When I press lightly, I feel like the quadriceps are kind of waking up. And then release that. We'll go to the other side. Start slow. Just see if your left toes can turn under, or whatever foot you didn't do the first time. And then you might be able to stretch the leg back behind you. Either way, whatever works for you. When you push down a little bit, you might feel like I just thought of like a bee's nest. You might start to wake the bees up in your thigh. And bring your foot forward. All right. So come up to the top of your chair if you aren't already there, and just lift your heels up. So we're doing the opposite to our toes. First, we took them under. Now we're trying to lift our heels so high that just our toes are on the floor and they're getting a nice stretch. Keep your heels lifted as long as you can. Anytime you want to come down from it, you can. You can see my toes are turning a little bit more pale than my feet. And then bring your feet down. All right, this one's going to seem a little strange and you're just going to feel it. You don't need to bend down and look over. So I still want you to keep your spine nice and long, but you're just going to take your left foot and maybe take the heel and just rub the heel over the top of your foot. So from your ankle down to the base of your toes, just a little rub over the top of your foot. And then we're going to switch what we're doing. So we're really using our left heel to rub the top of our right foot. But how about now turn your left foot in a little bit and use the bone of the top of your right foot to move into the arch. So you kind of have to press the left foot down, and you're using this bone that's on the top of your right foot to massage into the arch of your left foot. You kind of have to feel for it. And the more you turn your left foot in, the more you can get the foot. And if you're just rubbing your feet together like sticks, that's fine with me too. Just trying to stretch out the arch of the left foot. I can feel it. If I dig enough, I can get down to the bone on the right foot and feel it pushing into the middle of my arch. So maybe you're just warming up your feet because it's cold in the house. That's good enough too. All right, release. And then we'll try the other side. So first, we're taking the right heel and just rubbing it up and down the left foot. Try to aim towards the middle toe. And then you're going to feel the bone. So that's a great time to feel where that bony part of the top of your foot is. If I was as good as others in anatomy, I'd tell you what that bone is specifically. Can we just call it a bone? Now turn your right foot in and rub the arch of your foot over that bone. So the more you turn in, the more you might be able to get that bone right in the center of your arch. You might also notice you're using your quads a little bit, and there might be a little bit of cramping. And release. All right, scoot back a little bit. That way your thighs are on the chair and you've got something to press against. So we can scoot back, and you're welcome to lean back in your chair as well. And just stretch your right leg out in front. Now, holding your chair may work. I don't want you to have to stretch it out so much that that's all you're doing is trying to keep it held up. So you could bring it down a little bit and then flare your toes. Now, for some of you, you have space between every toe all the way down the line. For some of us, some of them stay together. But it doesn't mean that you can use a little bit of mind, body, and spirit to tell your toes to try to move away from each other. So try to spread them out as much as you can. And then draw your toenails towards you. Still flare your toes as much as you can. So it feels like you're stretching out east to west, but I want you to press your heel forward and draw your toenails towards you. Then you might start to feel a stretch on your calf. And then point and release. Stretch your left leg out. It doesn't have to be straight. It can be bent. It can be barely off the floor. Flare your toes. You might notice that one foot has an entirely different symmetry than the other. Now, as you're flaring your toes, bring your heel forward and your toenails back. And something's going to fire up in the back of your leg, whether it be your calf or maybe even the back of your ankle, or even just holding your leg up. And release. All right, so that is a lot of work just in our fingers and our toes. So we'll start adding a little bit to that. Go ahead, let's do hip crawls. Hip crawl. So what you do is you pick up a hip, bring it forward, bring up a hip, bring it forward. So we call those hip crawls to get you to the top of the chair. All right, take your arms out into cactus. So this looks like a cactus or even a field goal. Lift your elbows up so they're in line with your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide. We're going to work just in small twists. So begin to twist to the left. Don't go very far. I would say just a little, like a quarter turn. But then draw your left elbow back slightly. So you might feel that up in the pecs. As you draw your left elbow back slightly, keep your elbows lifted. Give me a cough or a clearing of your throat so that you feel your navel center toning and strengthening the twist. Come back to center. Take a little turn to the right. When you get to that small turn, bring your right elbow back slightly. Clear your throat or cough so you feel that little snap back. And then come back to center and release your arms down by your sides. All right, stretch a little bit in here. Take your left hand over towards here's your armpit, maybe a little bit under that. So around your breast, reach around and see if you can grab it. If you can't, you'll just feel, this is just to feel it. If you're like, I'm gonna keep my arm on my leg, feel free to do that. Lift your arm up. Right arm lifts. You can either touch or keep your hand at your lap. And I want you just to take the arm back a little and forward. Back a little and forward. Keeping your rib cage forward. We're just moving this arm. You might be able to bring it more forward and back, or you might be able to bring it a little bit out to the side, whatever feels comfortable. So just experiment with it. And again, you don't have to hold. That was just kind of an indication of keeping your rib cage where it is. I'm going to keep my hand here. Feels better. Just go forward and back. Doesn't go very far. We do have our limitation and that edge. Ooh, I feel it though. And then bring your arm down. Palm is facing back behind you. So your thumb is on the inside, your pinky on the outside, and just take your arm back and you can release your hand now. Take your arm back behind you. I've got a little bend in mine today because it just feels better, but you might be able to have it a little bit more straight. I kind of like the bend. And just draw your arm back behind. Good. Now take it up and out to the side. Give me a few rolling pins here as you roll the shoulder from the front of the shoulder to the back of the shoulder. Don't think of your hand turning or your wrist or your elbow. Take it all up into the shoulder. Roll your shoulder from the front to the back, and then your hand just turns for free. If you want, hold your Honeycrisp apple. And release. Feel the sensation of that arm versus your left arm. Take the arm up. If you want, you can hold your rib cage or you can keep your hand by your side. And we're just taking the arm back and forward. So you might be able to go more vertical. I'm at a little bit of an angle because that just feels better in my shoulder. I can tell that my body doesn't want to take it straight up. Moving it forward and back. Kind of find that edge, like the back of your hand is reaching towards the wall behind you. I can see my friends. I love when I can see them with their arms raised. All right, bring it down and push back. And find that edge where you can push back. You might notice that one arm has a little bit more mobility than the other. And then take your arm out to the side. Don't think of the hand, the wrist, the elbow. Come all the way up into your shoulder head from the front to the back. From the front to the back. Rolling the shoulder. Good. Think of a lubrication in the socket. You might be getting some pops and cracks. I had a student, it always sounded like popcorn beginning to pop one kernel at a time. There goes mine. Hold your apple for a couple of rotations. Big, juicy Honeycrisp apple in the palm of your hand. And release. All right, it wouldn't be a class with just a little bit of hip work, and then we will start to move into the last few minutes of class. So take your legs out wide. And thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking it out with me. Turn your feet out. And then you don't have to look down at your heels, but do they feel like they're in a line? If you drew a line across the mat, do you feel like your heels are on the line? Maybe your middle toes on the line. So turning your feet out and placing them on that strip. Take your hands onto your thighs or maybe your kneecaps. There's your apples again. And then try to draw your knees back. So remember how our arms were reaching back? Now reach back through your knees. You will feel a little stretch out through the inner thighs as you do that. Now, the nice thing about sitting in the chair for goddess pose is we don't have to hold our balance standing. Our sit bones are on the chair. But what would it feel like to you if there was no chair? What would activate? Because right now you might just have your feet kind of like feathers on the floor. Push your feet down into the floor. If the chair wasn't there, what would you do? You might start to feel the skin around your thighs toning. Squeeze your feet down and towards each other. So even though it looks like I'm not moving, looks like I'm paused or even frozen on the screen, I'm doing the work, but the work is inside my body. Pushing down through the feet, squeeze your heels towards each other isometrically, and then feel your knees moving back towards your pinky fingers. Squeeze down, action is towards each other, lift up through your collarbones. So feel like you're even stretching or zipping a really tight zipper up the front of your body. And release. Let your knees knock in a little. Turn your feet in. Keep them out here, spaced out a little bit apart. We're just going to take 3 forward folds. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale, place them down onto your thighs. Lean forward. Inhale, press up. Exhale out. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands to your thighs, lean forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale out. Last one. Inhale, arms float. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale out. Just wanted to add that in because we've kept our spine very still today. We've kept a long spine and stillness in the chair through the midline of our body. So that just added a little bit of attention to the spine for a few breaths. Come back, take your hip crawls. Take your hands onto your lap. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, close your eyes for a moment. Feel the temperature of the room on your skin. Listen to your breath a few times. Just notice its tempo. And if your mind was an elevator at this moment, how many people are on the elevator, equating it to thoughts? In this moment of quiet in your body and your mind, could you allow the elevator door to open and a few people exit, a few thoughts exit? And I always like a friend in the elevator, so I always keep a thought or two. And I let those thoughts float lightly around in my mind because I like having a friend in the elevator. So that thought typically makes me happy. Bring your palms to your chest. And I always like to envision that my elevator doors open to the most beautiful atrium with windows and light, with sights and sounds. Take a breath in, let it out. We'll chant Om together. Inhale. Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for joining me today or whatever day you chose to watch.